Hey all, welcome back to Triple Goddess Soapery. My name is Angela, and today we're going to do a walkthrough of my deodorant formula. This is a formula that took me more than 13 months and 12 trials to perfect, and I'm super happy with it, and it is now officially for sale in my shop as well as on Patreon if you're looking for the formula. So the first thing I started out with was cocoa butter. It has some great skin loving benefits, and it's a hard butter, so it's really going to help with the firmness of the stick. Because this is a stick deodorant, I wanted something that I could pour into a stick and that would be hard and be able to apply it that way. The next ingredient I chose was acetyl alcohol. It's skin friendly, very hydrating, conditioning, and it has softening properties. It's a fatty thickener, so it's going to give a silky feeling glide to this deodorant, so it's a really great choice. I really like it. I really like the way it feels in lotions and creams, and I love the way the texture it gives to this deodorant stick. So that is the next ingredient. Now, after that, we are going to add the beeswax. Beeswax is something that I have a love-hate relationship with because I don't like the waxy feel. I find it's difficult to wash off. But with the percentage that I'm using in this deodorant along with the other ingredients, it works really well and it has a really great wash off. The beeswax is really going to help with the hardening of the stick, and it's going to be really difficult for you to come up with a formula with easy to find ingredients that does not include beeswax. Believe me, I looked and I couldn't find anything. And like I said, after 13 months, I've come up with a formula that I like, and the beeswax does do a really good job at the percentage that I'm using. And this is a white beeswax. You can buy white, you can buy yellow, you can buy local, and yeah, it's easy to find. My next ingredient, and this is one of the stars of the show, this is isopropyl myristate. Isopropyl myristate is an ester that's derived from isopropyl alcohol. It's used in formulas to dramatically reduce the greasy, oily feel, and it adds a really great slip. This is really a game changer. It's highly emollient and gives a nice velvety texture as well to the deodorant. And then for the liquid oil, I'm using coconut oil. There's lots that I can say about coconut oil, lots of things that you can Google, but that is the somewhat soft oil or liquid oil that I'm going with. It has antibacterial properties and it's effective against odor causing bacteria. And this means that it's just going to help keep your underarms smelling fresh naturally. And you can use different butters and oils, but you do have to keep in mind that it may affect the final texture and the hardness of your deodorant. So you will be in reformulating territory. Next, we're going to measure out all of the dry ingredients. These are the more or less the active ingredients in the deodorant that basically absorb odor and keep the stink away. So the first ingredient we are going to add here is, and I am just waiting for it to pop up on the screen, zinc ricinoleate. This is a lovely, lovely ingredient. It's probably the most expensive ingredient, but it's definitely worth buying. It has effective odor neutralization. It forms complexes with the odor causing molecules in your sweat. It inhibits bacterial growth that contributes to body odor. It's also gentle and non irritating on the skin, and it makes it suitable for all skin types. Now, I think that this is the most difficult of all of the ingredients I use to find in Canada, but Soap and More is the best price for the amount that you get, and the only place I could find it that was reasonable. Now, the next ingredient that we're going to dump in here is arrowroot powder. It absorbs moisture, helps keep your underarms dry without clogging your pores, and it's basically is a great filler. You can use other starches, but I've only ever used arrowroot, really like it, so I don't find any reason to change. And it's quite inexpensive to find in bulk at the grocery store, on Amazon, or from soap suppliers. So there's that's my main reason. And you will find that a lot of recipes or formulas that you find online for deodorants and creams and things may use this. So my next ingredient is diatomaceous earth. This particular bag came from Amazon, but you can find it locally in farm stores as a matter of fact. Now, diatomaceous earth, it works as an odor blocker and eliminator as well. It protects against body odor, even if you have very sensitive skin. It's composed mostly of silica, which is highly absorbent material that takes away bad smells. So I would not personally leave this out. I Once I started adding this to my formula, I didn't come back out again. It was one of my main star ingredients. Basically, all of these powders are what's going to give your deodorant its odor absorbent as well as its odor blocking capabilities. Now, this is the star ingredient that I just flashed on the screen. This is magnesium hydroxide. This is the ingredient that if you didn't use anything else, use this. So, magnesium hydroxide, it's easy to find at most soap suppliers. It's an effective oil absorbent and has a typical usage rate between 1 to 30%. It binds to odor, causing bacteria to neutralize it. And that's why it makes such an important contribution to a deodorant, and it's suitable for all skin types, and it's non-irritating. I have very sensitive skin. I can't use baking soda on my skin, especially in deodorants, because it gives me a rash. This does not bother me at all. Works really great. Love it. So, next thing we're going to do, after everything's measured out in its separate containers, we're going to melt down the oils and butters in phase 1. And when that's all hot and stirred up and ready to go, we're just going to add the phase 2 ingredients, which is all of our powders. It's really that simple. And this whole process might have taken me 20 minutes, including melting everything down, so it doesn't take very long. So while we wait for everything to melt, we're going to measure out our fragrance. You can use fragrance oils, you can use essential oils, you can use nothing at all. But you need to check the IFRA guidelines on what percentage you can use for class 2, because that is ingredients used on the axilla and your underarms. And it's really important because many things you cannot use on your underarms. It's either not, it either has a 0% usage rate or it's very low. So check that out. Find fragrances and essential oils that are safe for your underarms and the percentage that you want to use, and follow that very closely. All right, everything's all measured out. We're all good to go. And I use a whisk because you really want to get your mixture as smooth as possible, because it just takes time to break down all the powders into the oils. And I'm checking the temperature. The only reason I'm checking the temperature is because I want to make sure that it's not so hot that it's going to flash off my fragrance or essential oil, or damage it in any way. So that's the reason I check that. So all I do is I just dump in all of my powders that have been measured out, and I'm just going to whisk until all of the clumps are out and it looks nice and smooth to the naked eye. Now, if you notice that there's like little black flecks or dark spots, it's not they're not really black spots. It's just the diatomaceous earth and some of the powders that are not completely smooth and blended out, and they just look dark in the mixture. So just keep stirring and blending until it's as smooth as and you're happy with it. You can even put it back on the water bath and stir it on the water bath until it's a smooth consistency that you like, just to keep it all quite fluid and liquid, because you're going to want to pour it into your deodorant containers, and you're going to want a smooth pour so the tops are nice and smooth and not all janky looking, because nobody, well, I don't care to use stuff like that, like it's for me, but if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to want it to be very aesthetically pleasing, because that's what customers want. So I would say I probably whisk for at least 2 minutes altogether. I did cut some of it out, but all I do is whisk it all up, and then we're going to add in the fragrance oil in a second. And like I said in the beginning, this formula and detailed instructions, as well as substitutions and reasons why I chose all the ingredients, that blog post is on Patreon now at the $5 level. Also, I just want to take this moment to say thank you to my patrons. We have Alicia, Erica, Kimberly, Linda, and Michelle. Thank you so much for supporting me, for joining me over on Patreon. I really do appreciate you, and it just gives me so much joy that you're there with me and that you comment on my posts and that you find value. So thank you so much. All right, back to the video. We are just stirring in the fragrance now. In this video, I do kind of piece together. I made, I think, 4 different batches of deodorants and different fragrances. So I'm using bergamot and fir in this particular one, and it's really nice. It's actually a very masculine smell, which you wouldn't think by the name of it, but it is a very masculine smell. But women also love it, and it's actually the deodorant that I'm wearing right now. So once I'm happy that everything is stirred and mixed in and blended and nice and smooth, all I'm going to do is pour it into the deodorant containers, which you can find. You can find these containers on Amazon. You can find them from most soap suppliers. You might even be able to find them locally. I'm not sure. I haven't looked. I will say though, I don't prefer these clear containers. I much prefer the white solid ones because although they hold exactly the same amount, visually, because you can see through them, it looks like they're only half full. And I think visually that's less appealing than having a white container that you can't see through. But again, all the deodorant containers are the same size. They all hold the same amount of product, but the clear ones look like they're only half full. So that's just an aesthetic thing, but I guess I could get around that if I used a wraparound label that just hid the whole container. And maybe I'll do that at some point, but right now I have tons of 2x2 inch labels, so we're going to use those up first. After about, I don't know, 30 minutes to a half hour, this is what the deodorant looks like. It's nice and smooth and beautiful, and it's hard enough that I can put the caps on. So I get that done just because. And see, you can see with the clear containers, like I said, they're just a little bit, they look half full. They're not half full, but they look half full. Now, if you have made it this far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you for joining me. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe button for more soapy content. I like posting videos like this at least. I like to do once a week. Sometimes it's not quite that, once a week, a couple times a month. And I post my soap making, different tutorials, some behind the scenes business stuff. And if you have any particular questions about how I do anything, please leave them below. If you'd like a particular video on something that you haven't seen yet, please let me know that as well, because that gives me great ideas for future content. These labels, I created them on Canva, and then I printed them on Maestro labels because I buy my labels from online labels. It is by far the most cost effective. And we're ready to go. All I do is take some pictures, post them on my website, and we're rolling. So, thank you so very much for joining me today. I hope you found some value here. If you have any questions, like I said, please leave them below, and I will be back soon with another soapy video. Thanks for now.